All right, gang, we got one more problem that we're going to work through, and then the fourth problem, that's yours. So just keep in mind that when we're working through these problems, that we're filling out each part of it, the list, the equations, the substitute, the solve, the things that you need to have on your paper are the same things that are shown here. It can look a little bit different, but the things that really need to be there have to be things like you have to list these things out. You need to have the units in there. You have to have the equation. When you show your work, put your units in the work. Now there is something where you, if the units kind of get in the way of you doing the math, sometimes you can wait to put the units in until the end. I'm going to do that on this last problem and kind of show you, and then you'll kind of see how that works. But so far we've done example number 1, we've done example number 2, we're going to do example number 3 right now. And then the last one is going to be showing it on your own. So when we look at example number 3, it says a toy car is launched across a track at a speed of 1.5 meters per second. How long does it take for the car to travel 3 meters? So a toy car is launched across a track at a speed of 1.5 meters per second. Oh, okay. Oh, so they give me some information. So as I'm reading this, I'm picking out this stuff, and a lot of us do it in our head. But when I see this 1.5 meters per second, I know that's speed. It's not a distance, it's not a time, because it says speed of, and this unit, it kind of is giveaway. Meters per second, that's a speed. But again, I abbreviate that with a V. So in my list, I'm just going to say V equals 1.5 meters per second. And then it says, how long does it take? How long does it take? Well, one word that we could use for that, well, how long does it take? It's not distance, even though they say long. How long does it take? That's a time. Kind of like, how long does it take to get to the grocery store? How long does it take to get to school? How long does it take for my stuff to cook in the microwave? It's a time. They're asking for a time. But they don't know what the time is. And we don't know what the time is. That's what we're looking for. And then for the car to travel 3 meters. When it's traveling 3 meters, that sounds like a distance. So I'm going to list my distance. It's equal to 3 meters. When I abbreviate meters, I can just use an M, and that's okay. All right? So this one we identified what we know, what it was that we didn't know, and it's dealing with these same 3 things: a speed, a distance, time. The equation is the same thing that we've been using the entire time. We do this each time even though it's looking the same, and some people are like, well, why are we doing this? It's the same thing over and over again. There's going to be little things in here, and especially once we get into things that are a little tougher, it pays off, it pays off. So you'll be good. Now that I got my relationship, this equation that I can use, I'm going to substitute these things in for things that I know and keep the things that I don't know just the same. I don't know the time, that's going to stay the t. The distance is 3 meters. I'm going to put 3 meters in. But like I said before, I'm not going to put the units in. I'll kind of show you what happens with it. But then in place of the V, I'm going to put this 1.5 meters per second. And sometimes people want to leave the units out because it gets kind of in the way of when they're looking at doing the math. Sometimes it's just easier to use this. That's fine. But make sure that you put the units in at the end. We'll come back to that. But now when I have to solve this out, I have to solve for the t. Be very careful about this, especially this example number 3. This problem, it's tricky because solving for t, some people, when they look at it, they do it in their head really quick, and it's what do you have to do with these 2 numbers to solve for t? And a lot of people jump to you multiply these 2 numbers together. Be careful, you're not multiplying those numbers. We're going to do something that we did in the last problem. In order to get this, and to solve for it, we need to get it by itself. But to get it by itself, we need to undo some things. So because it's not t equals, it has a bunch of other stuff. We got to undo that stuff. To undo it, though, that's where you got to kind of talk to yourself. And when we look at this, we don't say it's t divided by 3. We say this is actually 3 divided by t. The thing that we have to undo is divide by t. We have to undo divide by t, because that's the last part of what we say, 3 divided by t. We have to undo that. And so the way that we undo divide is multiply. But instead of dividing by t, we multiply by t on both sides. And that seems really weird for some people, because it's like, well, why did I have to multiply by t? That didn't actually solve out for what it is. Just hold tight, because now when I divide or multiply by t, it's actually like divide by t, multiply by t. It actually cancels these things out. And I'm left with this. So now when I have this equation, it's a little easier to see what I'm going to do next, because now I can actually get t by itself in the next step, because it's t times 1.5 equals 3. Well, to get t by itself, I have to undo something on this side. It's being multiplied by 1.5. To undo that, I have to divide by 1.5, both sides. And when I do that, 1.5 divided by 1.5, when I divide by the same number, I really get 1. It kind of cancels each other out. I'm left with t on that side. It's equal to these two parts, 3 divided by 1.5. You can put this in your calculator, or you can do it in your head. But if you take 3 divided by 1.5, you get 2. So when I solve this, I actually get this answer. T is equal to 2. When we did this, though, be careful again, especially when you solve for t. Because a lot of us, even when we do it right, we kind of go through it fast and we tend to make silly mistakes and things like that. Just be really careful about it. And if you're good with it, you're solid. You're awesome. But when we get this answer, we just get 2. We need a unit with it. So it can't just be left t equals 2. And so the unit, it's like, what unit goes in here? Well, you can kind of reason through it in one way, and then you can actually use your evidence in the other way. And when we're taking a look at the evidence part, it's really kind of putting units back into our work. Well, we kind of left it out to begin with so that we could do the math. But when I'm done, I'm going to put units back in. This 3, it was actually 3 meters. I'm going to put the meters in there. And then this 1.5, it was really meters per second. So I'm going to put that in there. When I divide by that, or look at what's happening to these, it is this top thing divided by this bottom thing. Well, I have meters on top, meters on bottom. Those two things actually cancel each other out. And now I'm left with this divide by divide seconds. It's really just seconds. So when I get my answers, it's 2 and it's seconds. You can also kind of reason through it because we just solved for time. And when we solve for time, a unit for time, well, we got meters, second, oh yeah, seconds. That's a unit for time. So you can kind of do that too, and that works. And that's solving out these types of problems. Again, these problems, when you have to solve for time, get a little tricky. you gotta make sure that you do the algebra with it right. So you could do it this way. Also, just kind of note that some people do it as like a little squiggle line, and you solve out for the thing on the side. You're really doing the same thing. You're undoing something on one side to get something by itself, and yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. You have this problem now to do on your own. And so this, you're going to try it out, show your work for it, do everything that we just did. You'll list out things that you know and don't know. You'll write the equation, substitute things in, and then solve it out. And so other things just to kind of mention as people are going is that doing all this work, it's useful. Do you have to do it? No, but if you're not sure, it is helpful and you should do it. Okay? But besides that, go to work. You guys will be great. All right, see ya.